The 2023 Specialized Epic World Cup has finally launched after floating around the internet for months. And if you're a previous Epic or Epic Evo owner like myself, you might be asking yourself, is now the time to jump onto the bandwagon of this hardtail full suspension mix, or should I hold out for something more? I've got some thoughts to share on that today. I had a chance to put eyeballs on this bike last week when it launched, and let me tell you, it is a beautiful looking bike, and just sitting in the display, it looks fast, as you'd expect from a bike with a $12,000 price tag. Now that's for the S-Works model. If you were to opt for the Pro model, it bumps down to about $9,000, and if you want just the frame and fork alone, that'll set you back $6,000. Definitely not an inexpensive bike by any means. At 1,765 grams, the Epic World Cup is lighter than the outgoing Epic, while still maintaining a decent amount of travel with 110 millimeters and 75 millimeters front and rear respectively. And while the bike does look fast when it's standing still, I did find that Roval integrated cockpit and computer mount to look a little bit weird in person. When you look at it on the website, it looks super clean and polished. In person, different story. Oh, and the cable routing going through the head tube does look a little bit bizarre to me, but maybe I just need to get used to it. And while having the suspension exposed on a mountain bike has never bothered me one bit, I do have to admit that seeing it kind of tucked into the top tube looks really clean and sleek. Is it a necessity? No, but I think aesthetically, it does look pretty cool. If you own a current Epic or an Epic Evo, you might be asking yourself, is now the time to upgrade? Well, I think that answer is, it depends. If you've been riding a hardtail and you've wanted something with just a little bit more suspension, something that's gonna give you access to just a little bit more of a rowdy terrain selection, this might be the bike for you, and it might be worth upgrading to the World Cup. But if you're like me, an Epic or an Epic Evo owner, I'm gonna say hang tight. See, I think that this is just the first launch of the new generation of Epics. They're gonna start with the Epic World Cup, and then I think you're gonna see an Epic in the coming months, followed shortly thereafter by an Epic Evo. While this might be controversial, I would love to see an Epic without the brain system, both front and rear, just like they've done with the Epic Evo. That way we don't have to deal with the inertia valve and the clunking that goes along with the brain. In fact, talk to anybody who's ever owned an Epic before and they've gone to a different brand of mountain bikes. You can almost guarantee that they left because they didn't like the way that the brain rode. Or talk to anybody who's swapped out that brain fork for a Fox Stepcast 32 or 34 simply because they don't like the way that the brain performs. My plan is to hang on to my Epic Evo for the foreseeable future. See, I think that we've reached this era with bikes where all of the bikes that are coming out are really, really good. And I think that my 2022 Epic Evo is a fantastic bike, and I really have no need to upgrade. And while the Epic World Cup may not be at the top of my list, and if I were in the market for a new mountain bike, I may wait until the Epic and then the Epic Evo launch, the World Cup looks like an absolute rocket ship of a bike, and Specialized has to be pleased with the way that it launched. I think they nabbed 2 out of the top 4 spots at Sea Otter on that bike. That's really impressive. And what's also impressive is that Specialized seems to be filling in the gaps across all categories. If you want a gravel bike that has suspension, you've got the Diverge STR. And if you want a mountain bike that's snappy and quick and responsive like a hardtail, but that has a more traditional suspension like an Epic, you've got the Epic World Cup. And if you want to get a used 2023 Epic World Cup, I think it's called the 2022 Trek Supercaliber, right? I had to say it. I mean, you can't talk about the Epic World Cup without mentioning the similarities between the World Cup and the Trek Supercaliber. Trek's marketing has done a fantastic job of taking advantage of this situation. Bravo, guys. The second big takeaway is that pricing has remained consistent. If you want to buy the last generation S-Works Epic, it's $12,000. If you want to buy the new S-Works Epic World Cup, it's $12,000. I was curious to see if they would raise prices just based on everything that's happened with the industry in the last 3 years. And while I kind of wish the prices would have come down, I'm definitely glad that they didn't go up. It looks like the Epic World Cup is available primarily online and in select shops. I know I called a few shops around here to see if they had one that I could get my hands on, and they did not. Anyways, in the next few videos, we're gonna talk about the Mog versus the Melee. I'm gonna wrap up my review on these Reserve 4044 wheels, one of my favorite wheel sets of all time. And we're gonna talk about some future travel plans, including maybe going over to Europe and riding over there. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, drop me a comment below or shoot me a message on Instagram. Till next time.